Hello and welcome everyone. So in module 2 we are going to cover how to create variables, how to declare variable names. We'll look into casting. We'll also look into getting the type of the variable. Then we'll look into case sensitive, and all these things we'll be doing through examples. So let's get started. Variables. Variables are actually containers for storing data values. Now in Python there is no command for declaring a variable. So a variable it's actually created the moment you first assign a value to it. So let's see some example, like suppose we put x equal to 7. So here x is a variable. We can also write y equal to data. Here y is another variable which is storing a string variable. Now let's print the variable x. So print x. Now we'll get the value which is assigned to x, that is 7. Similarly, let's print the variable y. Print y. So we get the value assigned to it, that is data. So there are some rules and regulations for writing variable names. A variable can have a short name like x or y, like we declared above, or a more descriptive one like age, salary, total volume, total sale. So there are some rules and regulations for declaring variable names. So the first rule is a variable name must start with a letter or underscore character. So the variable name, right? It should start with a letter or a underscore character. The second rule is a variable name cannot start with a number. So you cannot write a variable name starting with a number. The third one is a variable name can only contain alphanumeric characters. Alphanumeric means A to Z or 0 to 9, all those things, and underscore. Fourth one is variable names are case sensitive. So whether you write in capital letter or small letter, it's two different things for Python. So we'll be looking into this. So now let's see some examples of writing variable names in correct way. You can write my var equal to data. So this is correct way of writing variable name which is not starting with a number. You can also write my underscore var equal to data. So you can also write the underscore in the beginning, like underscore my var equal to data. You can also write all the letters in capital as well, like my var equal to data. So this is also a correct way of writing it. Or you can use number as well, write my var. You can also use number as well, like my var 7 equal to data. See, we are not getting any errors, means it's the correct way of declaring variable names. Now let's see some incorrect ways of writing variable names. So like to my var equal to data. So we are getting an error because a variable name cannot start with a number. So a variable name must start with a letter from A to Z or underscore, but it cannot start with a number. Let's see another example. Let's give a space var equal to data. So in the variable name, right, there shouldn't be any space. So it should be together. You can write. So how do we correct it? So we can correct it by putting underscore instead of space here. See, this is the correct way of declaring a variable. Now let's look how we can get the type of the variable. So you can get the data type of a variable with the function called type. So suppose we write x equal to 7, y equal to Python. Now we want to know the data type of x and y. Here you can simply write print type of x. So the x variable is an integer. Now similarly, let's look what is the data type of y. Print type y. So the data type of the variable y is string. So now we are going to look into casting. So suppose if you want to specify the data type of a variable, suppose you declared a variable x equal to 7. So Python will take it as an integer, but you want it as a string. So this can be done using casting. It's very simple. You can write x equal to str7. Now let's check the data type of x. Print type x. See, the data type is now string. Similarly, you can also change the data type to float as well. Suppose y equal to float 7. Now let's check the data type of y. Print type y. So it's float. It is very simple. Okay, now we are going to look into single or double quotes. So there are two ways in which you can declare string variables. You can use single quotes as well as double quotes. Let's look into an example. X equal to double quote data science. So this is the correct way of declaring a string variable. However, you can also declare the variable as x equal to single quote data science. So these two declarations are the same. There is no difference in that. You can either use single quotes or double quotes to declare a string variable. Now let us look into case sensitivity. So variable names are very case sensitive. You should be very careful about it. Suppose you declare a variable name small a equal to 7. Now you declared another variable capital A equal to 9. So these two are different variables. These two are not the same. And Python will treat these two variables as two different distinct variables. And capital A will not override the value of small a. This is all for module 2. I'd request you to try these 3 questions on your own. You should declare two variables x and y with values 9 and dog. You should declare a variable x with the value 9 and y with the value dog. Then you should find the data type of x and y. After that, you should change the data type of x to string. So in our next module, module 3, we are going to look into strings, how to assign a string to a variable, multiple strings. Then we'll look into strings or arrays. Then we'll look into looping through a string, string length, check string, check if not, and all these things we'll be doing through example. Thank you.